Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been forever, and welcome to a new year. Finally, 2021 has arrived. Today is a new day, a new year, a fresh start. I know that for myself, I spent the most of 2020 trying to keep up, trying to keep my feet under me, and it's been really tough. So I'm really looking at 2021 as a chance to start fresh on a positive note. In the last couple of months, I've been working really hard on new material, lots of new ideas, stuff that I've planned for my channel, and I hope that you guys like it. And so I'm starting with an illustration I did for my mom. The symbolism of the snake is important to her, and she likes red, so I thought of combining those two things and try something new at the same time. As it turned out, she absolutely loved it, so it was a good, I guess a successful experiment. Illustration is something that I would like to explore more this year, and this is my very first try. So what I did is I looked up a visual, a drawing online. I found this on Pinterest, and I printed out the drawing, and then I drew it freehand on a much larger piece of paper with pastel pencil first. Tried to keep it very light, with using broken lines, so that it's not a continuous line, just very broken, and kind of just giving a bit of an idea of where I wanted things to be. And then I went over with pen, and I used Sakura, I think, those pens. Let me try to find them now. They're, sorry, Pigma. Yeah, Micron. So Pigma Micron archival ink pens from Sakura. It is Sakura. Okay. And I've highlighted, not highlighted, I went over with pen over the drawing so that I could have that nice crisp outline. And then I'm using watercolors to color everything in. And this, again, it's my own colors, my own ideas how to color it in. I knew that I wanted to use red for the flowers, nice deep red, because my mom really likes that. So I needed the snake to have a color that would contrast nicely with that. So I chose gray, Payne's gray, for the snake. And it is basically Payne's gray mixed with a little bit of blue in spots, a little bit of blue, mostly just the pure Payne's gray, but with lots of water so that there's that gradient forming into the body of the snake. And I'm using, I've done the drawing, this painting on watercolor paper. I can't remember the exact weight of it. Is very heavyweight cold press watercolor, so it has a lot of grain. I like the texture of cold pressed watercolor paper, and it is from Fabriano. I know that because the name was imprinted on the back of the paper. But then I don't remember the exact weight of the paper. It's been sitting in my studio for a very long time, so I can't remember it, but it's the type that you would buy the sheet, nice big sheet. It doesn't come pre-cut into a pad of paper or anything like that. I cut it myself into something smaller. The watercolors that I'm using here are Cotman watercolors, and they work very well. I really like the colors, the pigmentation in them. contrast is what makes a painting. And so what you see me here playing around with quite a bit is the gradation of my color, to have nice contrast in one part of the snake and sort of just let the color dissipate out of that. I chose not to do anything with the background, to leave the background blank, the white of the paper. And in retrospect, I could have possibly maybe have done something very dark to sort of bloom from the center of the painting outwards. So just pure, very, very dark, concentrated paint gray. But to be honest, I was afraid of not damaging, but really making it worse. I didn't want to mess up the painting. I had worked so hard on it. It was the first time that I was doing an illustration. It took so long. It took forever to do it. The drawing took the most, and then the actual painting, I did a few layers of watercolors, so there's the waiting time of letting the paper dry completely, or as much as possible to dry in between layers and such. If you work it out, if you work it too much, the paper can only take so much water, right? So I was trying to be very cognizant of that. No matter the weight of the paper, there's always a limit to how much water it can take, and you gotta let it dry out. And so I was trying to be very cognizant of that and not overdo parts. And by the time I got to finish up the flowers and everything, and I was thinking of trying to maybe do the background very nice and dark right in the center, and sort of letting it phase out into the white of the paper towards the edges. Again, I was just too afraid that I would mess it up, and there's no way of taking that back with a watercolor painting. You got to start fresh somewhere else on another piece of paper. So I didn't want to mess it up. So here I'm starting with the flowers, and I had the same kind of idea as with the snake, of having these blotches of really dark color and letting that sort of escape into the bottom of the petal, and having the inside of the petals lighter than the outside. So I'm trying to be very careful where I put color. These flowers, these peonies are, I love peonies, but they're really hard to draw and they're really hard to paint, and at least for me, I find it very finicky, and I don't have a lot of patience. So this was definitely a different kind of project for me. But I took it nice and slow, and I tried to limit myself to one small area at a time, not try to do everything all at once like I would do when I would work generally with acrylics. That's how I would approach it. If I'm doing the first layer, I do it all over the place, and then the second layer I do it all over the place, and so forth. But with watercolors, you really can, because adding when the petals touch each other and there's water on the petal, the pigment then sort of just blooms into anywhere there's water. So you have to be really careful. You have to work very nice and slow. And it really helped to have the outline of the petals like this, because it really delineated the edges of the petal and which petal is which. And this form of illustration is something that I really like, that I really enjoy, and it's something that I would like to do more of. So at the moment I'm really just working on that initial layer or two, and I will be going in later with additional color. I really took my time with this painting. As I said, it took I think it took 2 days, 3 days, something along those lines, with a few hours of work on each day. And what I did was I put some music in the background and I just relaxed right into it. Didn't try to think of, or really try not to think of, how big it was, how much work still needed to be done. Just try to enjoy the small little piece that I was working on just right then and there, and not worry about the rest of the painting, so that I could enjoy my pace and not rush it. I would really recommend for larger pieces like this, or even larger, to really break it down, not try to do the whole thing in one sitting, to allow yourself to enjoy the process, the one small area that you're doing at a time, and take lots of breaks. And in those breaks, go and do something different. A painting of this size with this much detail, and I mean, for some people it might not look like a whole bunch of detail, but for me it was really a lot, because I usually don't paint like this. So it can be very overwhelming to look at. Oh my gosh, I have all this detail, and over there and over here and all over the place. So really just focusing on one area at a time. So here I'm going in with a second layer of red, trying to darken that color, and I think I went, I may have used a deeper color, like a second type of red on there, to get that deep color right there. And I can't remember the names anymore. Definitely a much deeper shade of red, and I used the color as it comes in the tube. I didn't mix it with anything else. No, I lie. I would have mixed it with some Payne's gray. That's what it was, to darken the color like that. Yes. And you see there I've done the leaves as well, the initial layer, and there's two colors of green on there. The bigger leaves are lighter, and the smaller leaves have a cooler green, darker green. And so I'm really just going in there and trying to amp up the contrast, just to give it more interest wherever I can. At this point on those leaves, I'm using less water, and I'm letting the brush sort of just skip on the page, so that it gives those spots almost on the leaf. It gives it some texture. And for the inside of the flowers, again, just very loose, 2 layers at least of color. And here is the final product. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thanks. Bye now.